This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Brutal Legend, available now.
GoDaddy.com.
And Squarespace.
This week on The Totally Rad Show, we're talking about Couples Retreat, Bronson, a video game called Lucidity, and what's Epic Mickey, you wonder?
And we're risking our lives!
They are risking their lives. I'm chilling.
Three rad bros, far away, long ago, from Tatooine, wish to go where 12 parsecs is slow. To save a princess, they chose to fight with sabers that glow. They team up with Solo, who shot first, not Greedo. With C-3PO and later Willow, they make the Death Star blow and share a colt with Lando. Now they appear on pillows, action figures and clothes, causing geekdom to grow into the Totally Rad Show!
Hey everybody, welcome to The Totally Rad Show, episode number 134. I'm Alex Albrecht.
That's Dan Trachtenberg.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
See? You know what? If you're not going to do it, nobody's going to do it for you.
It's like, I don't have to play this game if I don't want to.
I don't need to do it.
You know what the best part would be? If the lower thirds, your name was replaced with Dan Trachtenberg.
Horrible. Dan's up in this B.
Welcome to The Totally Rad Show, your weekly dose of all things rad. We log into Aeon and do group quests without our friends, because that's how much addicted we are to that game.
Yeah,
True dat.
I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. Speaking of happy campers, David Lawson sent in this great background.
Yeah, it feels very fall slash serial killer.
Oh, yes. A very common thing in the
But it's fall,
Eastern
man. Fall
states.
is upon us. It has fallen.
It has fell on us?
More
I
than
actually
I like
went...
this time of year. Reminds me of the. It's starting to smell in LA like the East
Fires.
It was like-
Smells like Halloween.
Yes.
I will
Which is
say, though,
awesome.
I'm disappointed. I had my 15-year high school reunion
Right.
last weekend, went back to Virginia, hot as balls.
Oh.
No.
Thanks, global warming.
Yeah, no, it was like, there's no fall. I was like, I want it, at night I got a little... Shall we talk about stuff?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. This week in movies, we're talking about Couples Retreat and Bronson. Let's start off with Couples Retreat.
Let's.
Let's.
So, Couples Retreat is co-written and starring Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn.
Correct.
Alongside other members of their troupe, Faison Love, and who else was in it, guys?
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, Kristen Bell.
The chick from The Watchmen.
yeah.
Whatever her name is. Mara Farasasas.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
It's hyphenated, right?
It's a lot of hyphenations.
And there's one other.
Jean Reno.
Jean Reno. I feel like there was another. Who was the other girl? Kristen Bell. Oh yeah, right. Faison Love's girl, who I don't know if she is. Anyway, it's directed by Peter Billingsley, who many of you know from as Ralphie from The Christmas Story, who's been behind the scenes. A Christmas Story. He's been behind the scenes on Favreau's troupe for a long time. He produced all of his movies since Made, I believe.
Didn't he produce Iron Man?
Yeah, he's all Jon Favreau's movies since Made.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So, but this is his directorial debut.
Yes.
The premise is this group of friends of these actors, which we just named,
we will now reiterate their names.
Are all in relationships, and they go on a couples retreat.
You know what's interesting? I just kind of occurring to me right now is you could sort of track the lives of these people to like Swingers. They were these two single guys,
Oh, that's funny.
and then
Made, they were these two single guys.
Well, no, yeah, but then at a certain point, like there was they were in the relationship when like Vince Vaughn had the breakup, and then the next movie that he just did that I saw, the Christmas one.
Yeah, Four Christmases.
Four Christmases is like they decide to get married, and now they're married. You know, it's like this funny progression of.
Yeah. So, Alex, what did you think of Couples Retreat?
I'm a big fan of the sort of Vince Vaughn, Jon Favreau. I actually really like Vince Vaughn. I think his humor is very, I mean, it's the same type of humor, but I think it's a good note, as they say.
Right.
And I think there was a lot of really high quality laughs in this movie. I didn't love the movie. I wouldn't say go rush out and see this movie, but it is a funny movie. It's an enjoyable movie.
But don't rush out and see it.
No.
It's funny and enjoyable.
Yeah, right. But no, seriously, there's a lot of other movies I'd be like, go see that movie. Oh my God, this movie, blah, blah, blah. But this Couple's Retreat, it's like, put it on your Netflix queue and have a good night. You know what I mean? But there were some really funny moments. I mean, genuinely funny moments. But there were some moments that were supposed to be funny that I think fell a little flat. But a lukewarm.
Well said, sir. You know, the one thing that people probably should take away from this show over the course of talking about romantic comedies is third acts are hard.
Yeah,
they're very hard, and it's disappointing because, as you said, this is a very funny movie. Very funny. I was laughing uproariously many times. Unfortunately, they set up this wonderful premise, which is, hey, not only are we going to make you laugh, but we're probably going to say some stuff that will help these people get back together. There is a promise of revealing some sort of
inner truth.
Yeah, or global truths about what it is to be married, you know, and what it is to be a successful marriage. And you always sort of, or at least I felt as I was watching it, excited to see how these conclusions were going to be drawn, how these people were going to get back together. But they happened so abruptly at the end, and in such a contrived way, especially for Faison Love's character, which is absolutely absurd that we're supposed to believe how that is resolved. It's really disappointing because they could have both done a great movie and said some really poignant, wonderful things. And there are, in the first two-thirds, some interesting, nice things said about what a relationship is, but it doesn't really fulfill in a way that's satisfying.
Right. It's interesting because I think I thought the movie was less funny than you guys.
Well, we're very funny.
It's true. You are not a humorous person.
But I think I liked the story more than you guys did. So there's a lot like 51st Dates, which is a movie that I didn't laugh uproariously throughout, but yet I really love the story of 51st Dates.
Wait, 51st Dates.
Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, she's got the memory problem.
I love that movie. Love that movie.
We never reviewed it on the show.
No, I know, but I really
just assume what we thought about it.
Right. So, and it was very similar, I thought, thematically to The Breakup, and I loved The Breakup, and I thought it was very funny as well. But I actually thought it was well plotted, but I think that. Although I agree with the problems you had with the end, but there was so many setups that I had no idea were setups. I was like, oh, they're actually paying off a lot of things here. Like even with Faison Love Story. Now, things were a little bit contrived in the end.
A little bit.
But yet there was something cool about how that worked for me. I will say that a lot of what was funny, I didn't think was scripted as funny. It was just their performances.
Well, but that's almost
like these guys hang out with this group of people.
Exactly. It is Vince Vaughn, the Vince Vaughn guy that you love from all his movies. That's him. Jason Bateman as Jason Bateman, but a little bit different.
Jason Bateman can do no wrong, in my opinion.
I thought for the first time he was a little bit. Normally he's the one sane guy in craziness, and he was a little bit the craziness.
Definitely.
And a little bit less sarcastic, quippy, but still funny.
Yeah. And Catherine Bell.
What did you guys think of the enormous Guitar Hero commercial in the middle?
I didn't mind it. I thought there was something kind of fun about it.
Yeah, it was definitely also scripted in a way that was like, insert popular rhythm game here. You know what I mean? Like, and then they were just like, now it is Guitar Hero.
I thought,
you know what I mean?
I thought the directing could have been better.
Yeah, me too.
It was a little claustrophobic.
Okay.
It was very close up to close up. A shot a person, not a lot of playing in the wide shot, and where a lot of humor could have come through. Moving on, Bronson. So this is kind of a big deal indie film because it's, or not indie film, but foreign film. It's from this director that we've never talked about on the show, Nicholas Winding Refn. He's from Denmark.
Winding Refn?
I'm probably saying that terribly wrong.
Yeah, because that's a font.
He did a trilogy of films called the Pusher Trilogy that put him on the mark, and he's got a Viking movie playing at Fantastic Fest.
Have you seen the Pusher Trilogy?
I have not.
Neither have I, and I've heard that I must see that.
Right.
What is, it's not Pusher.
It's called the Pusher Trilogy.
Okay.
And he did a Viking movie that's playing at Fantastic Fest called Valhalla Rising that I was very excited to see.
That sounds cool.
But Bronson has drawn a lot of comparisons to Clockwork Orange and Chopper, and you will see why when I describe the premise. It's about basically Britain's most famous criminal. It's this guy, Michael Peterson.
Real life.
In real life. True story.
Yeah.
Who refers to himself as Charles Bronson. He spent 34 years of his life in prison, 30 of those years in solitary confinement. I believe he's still in prison.
He is.
He wrote
Yes.
a book.
Yes.
Like he's famous for extreme exercise regimen, and he wrote a book called like Solitary
Solitary Fitness.
He does like 2,500 push-ups every day, something crazy like that.
That's not that. I mean,
that's what you do.
I do
I
like
know that.
I do like 1,200, but
Right.
you know.
Yeah, see, double what you do.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot, right? Okay. I mean, I was thinking the same thing you were thinking. Like, it's only double what I do.
So, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
What did you think of
Bronson.
I think regular viewers.
It stars Tom Hardy.
Nobody cares.
By the
Nobody
way. No, it must be said, stars the actor Tom Hardy.
In a very showy performance. A very showy performance. And I think he's pretty good in it. It's very much a look at me kind of very theatrical performance. And I think regular viewers of our show probably know that I have very eclectic tastes. I'm not necessarily the guy that loves the mainstream movies all the time. I like movies that take chances. Mm-hmm. I think this movie is a little too avant-garde for even me. And it's a bummer because we were lucky enough to go to a press screening of this film, and they gave us press notes which kind of outlined the real true life of this guy.
Charles
And his
Bronson.
life is fascinating. Unfortunately, I got none of that in the film. It's almost impenetrable to figure out the actual progression of his life events. It's sort of a kaleidoscope of just moments mixed with a artist's interpretation of what he may have been thinking during those moments. And some of it is compelling simply because of the violence and the intensity of the performance of the lead character, but ultimately as a story that I can follow that lives up to how interesting that true story is, I think it falls flat for me.
I'm gonna carry a torch here, Alex, if you don't mind.
Take it away, my friend. Light my
because
path.
While I want to say, because I agree with you very much. And I think that the comparisons to those two films I mentioned come from, the visual aesthetic of the movie is very Kubrickian, and it has that austere, symmetrical frames. And there's moments of extreme violence set to classical music.
Yeah.
And much like Chopper, which was the breakout performance of Eric Bana, this is very much the look at this dude Tom Hardy, although not his debut. But
what do we know him
what
from?
it doesn't, we don't really know. He was in Rock and Rolla.
Oh.
He was in Band of Brothers.
Okay, yeah.
But what it doesn't have that those movies have that a lot of biopics have, which is I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying, is I think the reason why I enjoy watching movies like that is because they're almost like how-to books. They're almost like, I don't really want to do those things, but it's interesting to see how do you get from nowhere to there.
Right.
Ray or Scarface or Boogie Nights.
American Gangster.
We know what happens to that guy, but how does that happen? You get to see that process of A to B. And even in a movie like Chopper, there's how does he do those things that make him end up where he is? And this movie, while it's an interesting intellectually to think this guy just is always badass throughout everything, but there's nothing. I want to see how he got. I want to see some change. I want to see some character development.
So you didn't
this
like
movie
it?
had none of that.
Yeah.
I was extremely bored.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's tough because it's one of those things where I too was extremely, well, I wasn't extremely bored, but I too had those moments of you know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, he screwed up. Let's keep going. But I also was very captivated by it at times, and it's hard to. It's a weird it was a weird watching experience for me because I fluctuated from this like, oh wow, this is so cool and I'm so into it and that guy is fucking nuts, to then like, okay, he's still nuts and banging people's heads. Okay, here we go. Keep it. I thought the performance was great. I'm sort of surprised. I thought you were gonna be sitting there going, that is the performance I was born to play. It was amazing. Very theatrical, very broad and meaty. It was a meaty performance.
And he does a good job.
He kicked his butt.
Yeah, he does a great job. So I think I kind of am sort of like in the same boat as you guys. I think maybe I liked it a little bit more just because I had those moments of like really into it, and but I'm also a huge like Kubrick. It was nice to see something that gave me that like feeling of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, there are these moments where he's doing these things in jail that are so violent.
Yeah.
And then in the next moment, they're showing him being discharged from jail, and it's like, how the hell did he get out of jail?
And that's what's interesting.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, he in his real life, he's this famous artist.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like none of that is in the movie.
Well, they
How does
touched on
that
it.
guy
They
become?
touched on it at
yeah, but what,
little bit,
but
but
not
not enough.
really.
Yeah,
I
I know
mean,
what I
like
The true facts are more interesting than the point presentation fact sheet.
And by
is
the
more
way, if
interesting.
this movie was not based on a true story, it would have been.
Yeah.
The only reason why it was interesting, even the bits that were somewhat interesting, was because we knew it was a true story.
I definitely agree with that.
It hung its hat on that.
I'll hang my hat on you.
All right, people, as you can tell, we are here very early in the Angeles National Forest.
7 a.m. up at, we drove to Azusa.
Yep.
Excuse me.
The lovely folks at Bungee came to us and said, hey, Halo ODST is so intense. How about we do something crazy with you guys?
The orbital drop shock trooper. Drop ship. Orbital deployed shock trooper.
I
thought it was dropping.
Either way,
These guys are dropping.
we're
Anyway,
dropping.
they get shot to Earth. So we thought, let's get shot to Earth.
Yes, so
it's Bungee.
we're here doing the first ever TRS bungee jump. At least Jeff and I are, because this was going to be a Dan Becomes a Man segment, but Dan
didn't want to become a
he
man.
drew the line at manhood.
I smoked enough
right
cigars
there.
and drank enough tea to know I got it covered.
So we're going to hike now for 2 hours
Yeah.
into the National Forest to the Bridge to Nowhere.
It's absolutely gorgeous up here. It's very cold right now, but it's absolutely gorgeous up here. We're gonna have this amazing hike, and it's gonna end in us leaping off a bridge.
Fingers crossed!
We get pretty old the hike though. People don't think it's dangerous. Well, I don't think it's crazy. But it really starts to get
Somebody should fall in right there, just so you get better footage. That would be good. Like, take a slip and fall.
Yeah! 6 more times! 6 more times!
How you guys doing?
Well, we're halfway.
Meet me halfway,
Halfway.
across the sky. This is like a seriously beautiful hike.
Yeah.
Right? It's gorgeous.
That's Mexican over there.
Dan, did you give up? You just gave up? What happened? What happened? Tell the people what happened.
Look good. Look like somebody here. Mike just said, screw it, I'm going in the water, which is awesome.
I'm walking in the water.
You got your water moccasins on, so it shouldn't have been a problem, right, Dan?
It's all good.
So we're at the bridge.
Yeah, so we're just gonna jump off this thing if you want to check it out.
Tell the camera how the hike was.
Miserable.
Miserable?
A little bit.
Oh, it was great. It was really beautiful.
I think 2 of the TRS team didn't really enjoy the hike as much as the other 2. Those 2
Can you
being
guess?
Dan and the man giggling behind the camera.
That's me.
So how many times have you jumped off this bridge?
Well, they made me jump one time to start working.
Just once?
So just the once. That's all.
That was it, and you're like, I can't, I don't want to. After you, how many people have you seen perish?
Well, we try not to talk about that.
So you think we're in good hands? We're perfectly safe.
Yeah, you'll probably see.
All right.
Probably
You heard it
be
here
safe.
first, folks.
We will probably be safe. We paid somebody to force us to do this. I just love that we paid somebody to be like, hey, I'll let you jump off a cliff. Like, all right. You know, the platform looks pretty sturdy
Platform does look sturdy.
in a very precariously placed way, kind of way.
Worried about the waist loop right now. We're gonna come behind you and tighten up all the waist loops.
So we don't put our feet through the
Do
thing.
not tighten the leg loops yet. You got it? So, anybody who has anything sensitive or dangling here in the strike zone, right? And you have aspirations of having kids one day, make sure nothing is hanging outside. Hello, the leg loops when you tighten them down, right?
Say what? Say that again? I didn't
Just
see that.
imagine
This sounds very
anything-
important. You getting that?
Junk.
Is this happening for you?
I'm feeling his pulse.
Right here,
Oh,
in this
yeah,
general area?
Looks like you're choking him out. Like. Anyway, this is your full body harness. Looking nice. It's like a big hammock, so when you're bouncing around down there, you're fully supported. Right? Your shoulders, your waist, and your legs. Looking nice. Thank you, man. Now the chest harness.
Are you at all nervous right now?
Smidge.
You haven't crossed the wall of fear.
I haven't crossed the wall of fear. The invisible wall of fear.
I have no regrets. I'm so scared for him.
I'm going hippie.
Got you. All right, we need a bungee countdown. Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Reload.
We're kind of at the beginning of fall right now, which is the beginning of the torrent of crazy releases in the video game space, gearing up for the holiday season. Kind of starts next week, although a lot of stuff this year has been pushed into 2010, which is very interesting. But before we kind of go into all those AAA titles, I wanted to take a second and look at a game that might go under some people's radar, but is a pretty interesting title. It's called Lucidity, and it's a downloadable game on Steam and also on Xbox Live Arcade. And it's from the guys, LucasArts, who did the Secret of Monkey Island remake that we talked about that I really liked. And this is, there was a game when I was young, when we were all young, that was called Lemmings.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a huge hit for the time, and it was about these little lemmings going across the screen, and you could put stuff down and you tried to save them from committing basically suicide.
One of my all-time favorite games of all time. Yes, that's right. And
Double all time.
So much so that I bought the 3D version on the PlayStation.
Oh.
Loved it.
Wow.
Amazing.
Or the Sega CD. One of those. Amazing.
Amazing. Okay.
Well, so this Lucidity kind of works like a cross between that and Tetris, in the sense that with Tetris, you don't really know what piece you're going to get next, and you have to deal with getting that piece next. The basic premise is you play this little girl in a very storybook aesthetic who...
It's like French pastel-y kind of thing.
Yeah, very much like a hand-drawn storybook, and it's all hand-drawn animation.
It looks like the kind of animated short film that gets nominated for an Academy Award.
Agreed.
You never see, but they show that blip at the...
And you're like,
They're
what is
like, wow, that looks really
sad.
sad.
Yeah, that's what this game looks
Couldn't
like.
somebody give that girl her balloon?
Well, in this case, it's not balloons she's looking for, but fireflies, and she is walking from the left-hand side of the screen to the right-hand side of the
Grab
screen.
right a hold of that.
I did. I was running with it. If you hadn't even pointed out, it would have seemed so natural.
I believe it's au natural.
Right. And so you're trying to gather as many of these fireflies from the environment by leading her into that path as possible, all the while avoiding the numerous enemies and
Pitfalls,
dangers in her path. So you have a series of items that become active to you to place down in her path, like jump shoes that propel her forward, or a fan, a fan that will shoot her up, a slingshot that shoots her, explosions that will blow up enemies in her path. All kinds of things become available, but you don't know which one you're going to get next. So it becomes this this crazy trying to keep up with her and not let her fall into peril. Alex, what did you think of Lucidity?
You know, I'm very mixed on Lucidity because conceptually, great concept. Visually stunning. Everything about this game. I sat down, I called Heather in, I was like, you You have to watch this game. Like it's gonna be so great. I'm so ready. Then I started playing the game and realized it's not very good. At least for me, I really did not like the concept of like, okay, this is what I have next. Okay, how do I do it? The thought puzzle was really fun and engaging. The twitch factor of getting the thing that I know I have next and that I want in this one space as she's scrolling the screen, so it's jumping out of location. I mean, that was all the time she died on the PC.
Okay.
So the mouse was like stick it, dig, dick. It was like very weird.
A lot of dicks.
It was a lot of dicks.
A lot of dicks.
A lot of dicks. So it was like a wild dick.
Clerks?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's
We're doing
okay.
references
Please.
over here.
No, it's all good.
I didn't know.
I was just.
I thought you were saying, don't step on my dick joke.
Yeah. Don't
Don't step on my dick.
joke.
Don't step on my dick.
Yeah.
Joke.
Okay, so.
We're doing a show over
But
here.
anyway, so once, the twitch factor-ness was way too squidgy. Basically, it was the same problem I have with Scribblenauts. Great game. Great idea for a game. The puzzle-ness of it was so engaging and interesting, and it falls flat based on the fact that the execution was not smooth. Had that been just butter smooth, I would have been frickin' throwing shit up all day.
Daniel-san?
I am a similar mixed bag as Alex.
Did you play on the PC or the 360?
I played on the 360-degree console, sir.
Interesting. How did you use the little thing to move where it goes?
I used my mind.
Oh, that's amazing.
And buttons.
I didn't know if you got that.
No, I got mind flex. It is a brilliant game. And like Alex, visually amazing.
Yep.
And music. Nobody's mentioned the music.
Music is
Beautiful.
gorgeous.
My girlfriend was in the other room, and then she came and said, "What are you listening to?" And
Fable 2
just
was
in
after my
that
girlfriend.
voice.
What are you listening to? What are those brilliant songs? Are those I'm drawn to it.
And even the gameplay, see, I differ from you in that I think that even the gameplay is I think a stroke of genius. And
I thought the gameplay was a stroke of genius. The execution of it wasn't what I thought.
No, but even in the
Yes,
execution.
yeah.
And it was like some of the best games, like what I'm doing and the story. It found so there's this story happening where there's a girl in a dream, and then you would read these Grandma used to tell me not to turn off the lights, whatever, and it oddly reflects on what you were just doing, and it always commented exactly how I was feeling emotionally during that level. It was very bizarre and obviously purposeful and designed that way.
Grandma always told me to get more gamer score points.
So it was kind of brilliant, but I actually had zero fun doing it. I kind of had negative fun. I really didn't enjoy it, and I just sort of forced myself through it, and intellectually amazing, but boy,
This is amazing
none of
and
what I was
horrible.
doing was fun. And Lemmings, I had a blast playing.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't have fun.
Maybe if there's a horde of girls.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just found it to be one of the most difficult games I've played in a long time. The difficulty ramps up so extremely, so fast, and it all has to do with the fact that you don't know what you're gonna get next. And I think maybe what you guys are describing has a lot to do with that, in the sense that I feel like I was robbed of the chance to play the puzzle intellectual side of this game by the pure speed at which I needed to place the next thing down, or else she was going to die. And when she dies, you start back from the beginning of the level. There's no middle ground. And you will die a lot, if you're anything like me, that is. And I literally got to the point, you didn't see that, I literally got to the point where my strategy became, no matter what the next thing is, I just put that down in her path. I just put it down in her path, and she deals with that, and I have to just keep going. But then the game gets absolutely nefarious and gets you to the point where you literally cannot get through the stage without blowing up some walls.
And there's the nothing from Neverending Story.
The nothing! Yes, and that's just it's so cruel because then you're just waiting for the bomb to come up, and if the bomb doesn't come up, you're screwed.
And there's moments where the bomb won't. I think that you did it wrong at that. You had to go.
I think it's random. I think it's absolutely random what comes up
because
next.
there's so many times where it's the bomb. I was just placing things.
Me too. That's all you could do. It's I need a bomb. And that's
when I stopped.
Dead. Then nothing.
That's
got
when
me.
I said F you. Not cool.
Yeah, F-U-N is not what you had.
I didn't have that.
It's too bad. And I still had a really good time playing the game, though. And I recommended people to try at least the demo, and maybe you'll like. But it gets really hard.
It's more of a work of art.
Speaking of works of art, you know what company does a lot of works of art? Disney. Trying to do a segue really badly. The big news this week is that there is a Wii exclusive game that is going to be announced in the next issue of Game Informer.
Disney? That's shocking.
And the lead character is Mickey Mouse. You don't see Mickey Mouse in a lot of things anymore. He's sort of this.
True.
He's higher than any one given product. He's a corporate entity now, not an actual.
Yeah. He appears only in the boardroom.
Yeah, but this game called Epic Mickey we're hearing things about, and we haven't seen too much specifics because, like I said, there's an exclusive Game Informer article coming out next month. But I wanted to talk just kind of generally about the concept because it sounds very interesting. First of all, the most interesting thing is that Warren Spector is the game designer behind the game. Now, this is one of those pantheon, like Mount Rushmore game designer guys. He's the guy behind Thief, and like a lot of the classic Origin games, Deus Ex, just huge important games in the history of video gaming. So he's behind it. So that kind of leads a lot of credence to the fact that this is going to be a quality game. And they're saying
Disney got a little bit of cash to throw behind.
They do have a little bit of cash, and they're very protective of their main man, Mr. Mickey Mouse.
Well, that wasn't always the case.
Of being protective of Mickey Mouse?
I mean, I happen to love those old Mickey Mouse in the Castle of Illusions on the Genesis and Sega CD. I loved those games.
Disney was big back in the day with like Aladdin. Like I played the Lion King.
Aladdin and Lion King, both that you mentioned. Every like Disney cartoon that would come out, the game that accompanied it was like my favorite game. It had all the great music accompanying it. But
the story.
But those. Now let me say this is.
I know you're. Never mind.
This, can I just, okay, so I think that there was a ton of those Mickey games back in the day, but you're right now.
But in the last 10 years, I think they've been much more conservative.
I agree.
But let me tell you what the premise of this game, because it might spark even your more interest, because you don't know anything about us yet, right?
Nothing.
Okay, so listen to this. Yes. The premise of the game is that Mickey Mouse has been captured by a bunch of defunct Disney characters.
Love it.
Love it.
There is, I wish I should have looked up the name of it, but there's this character that Walt evidently created before Mickey. Mike has just put it up.
Steamboat Willie?
No, Steamboat Willie is Mickey. I mean, Mickey Mouse was in there.
Right,
but this is like it's like Oswald the Rabbit. In fact, I think it is Oswald the Rabbit. I just pulled that out of my hat.
In fact.
Anyway, so he's been jealous of Mickey Lo these many years of Mickey being Disney's corporate mascot, and he captures Mickey, and Mickey has to use a paintbrush and paint thinner to paint his way out of this like dark world.
That's where you lose Alex and Dan.
Well, that's where it becomes a Wii
I put my Wii remote in my hand and went, screw it.
So you guys aren't,
unless it's like
about
that,
this?
like tag power of pain or that's unfinished swan, like.
It could be. I mean, we really don't know much. We know that there is going to be what they are touting as a very major redesign to the way Mickey looks. That they haven't shown his face yet because nobody cares about it.
That might be all right. Here's what I will say that I think is
Mickey. It's like, okay.
Okay. That's funny that you should say that. Those games.
Wow,
I loved those Mickey games back in the day. Because there is an atmosphere to Disney that I have in my heart from being a kid and going to like Disneyland and seeing the Disney Channel that would air those cartoons.
Yes, Good Morning Mickey.
When you're younger,
I loved it.
There was some of them that were a little bit creepy, like Disney's Halloween, and even Disneyland, a little bit scary when you're very young.
That was Disney. Right?
Sleepy Hollow, exactly. But in Disneyland, the rides, something is very overwhelming, and so there's a little bit of fear in me, but also joy with Disney.
So you playing those emotions.
This game is going to be therapy for you.
So playing those games,
he comes out sweating.
There was just a spirit.
There was fear and joy.
There was a magical spirit to those Disney games, to the Mickey games that I loved, and I look forward to that spirit being
You're excited about
rekindled.
this.
So I'm excited for existing in Disney World, and not in the Kingdom Hearts way, which I'm sure people in the forums will be mentioning.
You could do it in
There's nothing about this that makes you go.
There's a lot about it that makes me go, but there's a whole bunch about the Wii that makes me go, la la la, which is
hater pants,
which is the negative Mickey voice. This is not enjoyable for me. It just hasn't been since the Wii launch. It's just this. So when I hear paint bucket, I hear, okay,
But maybe it'll be like
You just don't
Maybe it'll be
a
like-
Wario game, Wario Shake, or whatever. It could be the Wario Shake thing, or Galaxy, where it's a little bit
I
of
think
this.
for
I hope
me,
it's a little bit. If it's like running around, you're like
Once in a
jumping
while you
and
gotta
doing it,
waggle,
and every
and
once in a
then
while you got like
erase
I
somebody,
got the
and
thing.
then-
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
Yeah.
You know, maybe, but
for
even
me,
that, I
the
just
fact
felt
that Warren
not good about
Spector is
that.
involved gives me hope.
I'm a fan of Wing Commander.
Countdown, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That guy goes. Then he'll go again.
I kind of want to wait a little while before I go again. Dude, it was good. It's all right.
Let's see the hands. Hold out your hands like this. Look at the adrenaline shake. Oh, there it is.
Dude, the moment you leave the platform, you are literally falling. It's like there's no control at all.
Here we go. Looking at me, kid.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bungee!
That scared him. That scared him.
You looked at that one seems a little more scary. How was that one, Jeff?
Much scarier.
I could see it on your face, the thought of, I haven't sprung yet.
I can't even. It's crazy. The backwards is. That was terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Because I'm falling. I'm just falling. Oh my god. That was insane.
Me next.
Man, you gotta
me
do
next.
this. You gotta do it. No. You can do it, baby.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
But then when they're like, okay, jump, and then you go, wait, there's gonna be a whole period of time where I'm.
Let's see your hands.
Oh, dude, totally.
There was a moment right before it pulled back where you were like, "Boom! This is it. This is
And I was
what's
like,
happening."
now I get it.
Yeah.
I literally had that brain moment of, oh right, I just free fall, then it catches me. Lordy.
Ready to practice back jump?
Yeah. Who's next? What's up?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How was that one?
Holy crap, dude.
Completely different, right?
Not only is it different, it's literally like you start mentally going, oh, okay, I see what's up. I see what's up. And then all of a sudden you go, I don't want to be falling this long backwards. Yeah. And that's
Longer than you think you're falling.
Because I was like, yeah. Can't believe it's getting
You punched life in the balls,
I did
man.
punch life in the balls.
It's called the bungee buzz.
Yeah, I do feel buzzed. I
Oh,
do
me
feel
too,
like.
dude.
It is. Nice, dude. Have a seat right here. Ding.
Let's go, Sandra!
You just leveled, sir.
Yeah, that was wingdings. You got wingdings.
hands straight. Put the hands
I know.
How was it?
That's scary.
Yeah.
That you don't. You know how when you're bouncing, you kind of feel safe with the chest thing.
Pay attention.
It's just, you just feel a tug on your feet, and you're like, that's not very much holding me. That was awesome. Awesome.
Come on, Sandra.
Yep.
Head up. out, and just a little hop, okay?
Okay.
In
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's what I'm talking about.
Did you high five it?
Holy crap.
that one's the scariest.
Holy shit, dude. It is so hard to keep straight. Because all you're thinking is, couldn't be this long, couldn't be this long, something happened, couldn't be this long. Something happened, it couldn't be this long. I was like this.
I know, I saw your eyes closed and you're like, it's great. It's not great.
But the bounce back up is epic. Epic.
Did you get close to the bridge?
Almost. I mean, I was like, I did this and then I went.
I don't really want to touch it.
That's awesome.
I was like, that's pretty close to the bridge.
Dude, it's amazing.
That, my friends, is bungee jumping. Woo! So we have done it.
I guess that's how the ODST feel.
Like these people. Now, see, some people just fall off like a dead body. I had such a blast, and
This
and
was one of the most
blast-
exhilarating experiences of my life.
But it really is one of those things where it is. You really do have to shut off the fear of committing suicide. Because you're literally forcing your legs to go jump harder and faster off of this bridge, and you go, nah.
That's what I was saying to Dan, is that I'm standing there on the thing going, intellectually, I know this is safe. They do this all the time. I'm fine with it. I'm excited to do it. I can't. But as soon as you step out there, your body just goes.
It's what that guy
Something
said. There's
happens.
an invisible wall of fear.
And your
it's like
body
your-
just does not want this to happen.
It's like your body when you touch something hot, you immediately jerk
Yeah.
back. It won't let you experience that
Right.
more.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what you're.
It was awesome, as I'm sure you saw.
I feel like what they just saw is a lot like what I used to watch on Railroad or Road Rules.
Yeah.
But I must say that seeing it, and obviously experiencing it, but seeing it
In person, it's a
there's a
different
feeling
beast.
even just being on this bridge and looking
Yeah.
over where and I don't have any sort of fear of heights, but you get a twinge of ooh, this is, and you guys stepping out there, I'm nervous for you.
Yeah.
And there's just a spirit being out here. It feels very different than how it might look. So
now,
you just
is there
have to
any
know
part
that.
of you that feels like, man, I'm kind of curious of how that would
Just
be?
like I said to you, the same part of me that's a little bit curious what it feels like to kill a man.
Nice. Okay, so
All right.
Wanna
we're
go
gonna
camping?
we're gonna try to avoid that.
No, but I mean like just not really. No, the answer is no.
All right. Well, we had fun.
Well,
Thank
yeah.
you, Bungie.
Thanks, Bungee and Halo ODST. I guess that's what it's like for those troopers, huh?
Booyah. All right, everybody, before we get to our email, we do want to thank our sponsors, such lovely sponsors as Squarespace.com. Now, Squarespace.com, if you don't know, is web hosting and the best WYSIWYG editor in the history of WYSIWYG editors.
If you don't know, well, now you know.
Thank you, Rap Jeff. I'm glad that you've stepped in for the end of the show.
No problem, G.
Okay, as Rap Jeff so eloquently put.
And better as 90s rap, Jeff.
90s
as
rap,
no
Jeff.
MTV rap, Jeff. I forgot my enormous clock necklace.
Anywho, Squarespace is amazing hosting site. It's unbelievable. If you want a website for anything, use Squarespace.com. Dan knows this. The TotallyRatShow.com is now on Squarespace. JeffCanada.com is on Squarespace. The multi-award-winning JeffCanada.com.
Dude, I keep hearing people tell me all
Dan
these awards that
Trachtenberg.
I'm getting. I haven't mentioned them on the show in a while,
Yes,
but
it's good.
people keep telling me about
Yes.
it. It's crazy.
DanTrachtenberg.com is on there. AlexAlbrecht.com is on there. Amazing stuff. If you'd like to have your site be a Squarespace site, head over to Squarespace.com. Use the coupon code TRS when you check out. And for the rest of the life of your hosting service, you will get 10% off. Craziness.
And it's ironic that I was
word Rap Jeff, though.
90s Rap Jeff, because I should be Rock Jeff, because it's Rocktober right now.
True.
And you know the reason why it's Rocktober is because Brutal Legend has dropped. The day this episode comes out,
Yes.
Brutal Legend's dropping. Brutal Legend, what is Brutal Legends, you ask? Well, I'm glad you
You
asked.
should have been watching earlier episodes of our show.
You should have, because we talked a lot about it, because it is awesome. It's a game starring the voice of Jack Black as Eddie Riggs. He is a roadie who has been sucked into a demonic world of rock and roll icons. It looks so awesome. I can't wait to get my my hands on it. You should check out brutallegend.com. If you don't know, now you know. And revision3.com/brutal, which will give you clips from stuff we've talked about previously in other shows on the Revision 3 network. This game kicks a lot of ass.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard nothing but good things.
Oh, it's by Tim Schafer.
Yeah.
So
Psychonauts.
remember how earlier in the show I was talking about the Mount Rushmore of game designers? He's on there too.
Ironically, member of Secret Monkey Island.
Yes, indeed.
Something's going on there.
Boy, there's lots of
symmetry.
cross-pollinate-
Kubrickian symmetry. All right.
That was me being part of Kubrickian stuff.
That was me acting poorly. GoDaddy.com is a great place to get your domain names, super cheap domain names, lots of hosting options, great customer service. Get your piece of the internet over at GoDaddy.com. Go to revision3.com/GoDaddy to get see a whole list of promo codes you can use.
Yeah, super cool.
Before we get to the email,
I was going to cross promo Bytejacker, but go for it.
Oh, go for that.
You sure?
Do it.
You sure?
Yes.
So if you haven't checked out Bytejacker, you got to check out Bytejacker. Anthony Carboni basically covers all the stuff from the sort of indie game section of like downloadable
stuff,
games and iPhone games. I think maybe there's some portable stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
So check it out. Bytejacker is over at revision3.com/Bytejacker.
Well done, sir. I wanted to say,
Yes.
they probably have just seen us risk life and limb.
Yes.
But we, as of in time traveling time, we haven't done that yet.
No, I know.
So what if we're dead?
I was just gonna say, hopefully,
we should,
hopefully
like,
this isn't
what if
really
Dan-
strange
what
right
if
now.
Dan-
What if I am the sole survivor?
Well, no. What if Dan then says, "I'm gonna do it," just does it, and then dies?
Yeah. We should all probably have a message from beyond the grave.
That's a little creepy, in my opinion.
I don't think, because never mind. Yes.
It's gonna be. I figure like if you joke about it, it can't happen because nobody jokes
my
about
Yeah,
it.
I figured the
Or
opposite.
is it gonna happen?
I figured the
because-
opposite.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, to the email. If you are dead when reading this, after spending most of the night last night helping build a solar car for my daughter's 5th grade science fair project.
Wow, that's a hell of a project.
Jesus.
Solar car?
I know, right? That only happens in movies. I was wondering if you remember any science fair projects that you did as a kid. Thanks, Steve from Vienna, West Virginia. There's a Vienna, West Virginia? I'm from Vienna, Virginia.
Oh, I bet there's a rivalry there waiting to
I
happen.
didn't even know.
90% of our audience didn't even get that.
Okay, what do you think?
Science fair.
Yes.
Funny question. I mean, cool thing to think about because I haven't thought about that in forever.
Yeah.
And
Really?
I was
cool thing to think about, nerd.
It is. It's cool.
It is.
It's cool to think about science.
What are you, a nerd hater?
What's up,
you like
Pot?
Kubrick.
Kettle over here. The thing about science fair is, sadly, I wish I felt as I do now then because I never was really into it. I always felt like such a huge responsibility and I never knew what to do. And I only did one that I remember. Maybe my parents will remember more, but I only remember one, and it was building a solar system out of those styrofoam balls,
yeah.
which is a terrible science
all did that,
project. It's
yeah.
terrible. That's not a science fair project. It's like there's no testing involved.
Yeah, that's not fair.
And why is it that parents end up doing like 80% of the science?
The only thing
kids
more
don't care about
cliche.
science.
The only thing more
Sucks.
cliche than the solar system science fair project is the volcano.
Volcano.
Right.
Which
But at least
I
the
never
volcano
made.
does something.
But if I made a volcano science fair project, it would totally be my Fireball Island game board. Like I would use that.
Do you remember any of the
I'm
science fair stuff?
having a hard time remember. I mean, there was this one time where who was it? It was me and I think it was Sarah Jessica Parker made an atom bomb, and John Lithgow.
Yep, I remember
was
that.
But I don't think it was Sarah Jessica Parker actually. Who was it? Anyway, Manhattan Project. So
You should see it.
It didn't.
No, I mean,
None of
the only
that
thing that
worked.
comes to mind that I'm sure started out as a science project and then became a hobby is something we've discussed on the show previously, which was building model rockets.
Yeah.
Which were phenomenal. In fact, I definitely
loved
did do
model
that
rockets,
as a
yeah. I
never
yeah,
did that.
dude. I remember before I talked about the Ninja was my
Yeah.
and the one that held like GI Joes in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Capsule.
Did you do a science
So
fair?
I did two. I have two quick little stories. One, my volcano, which I did do. I got a B instead of an A because I wrote the word volcano and I wasn't
E?
very good at cursive. And so I wrote the volcano. I thought, well, I do this, but then how do you do a cursive V? So I was like, well, I guess you just kind of go back down. And so my teacher was like, he doesn't know how to spell volcano. He spelled it with a U. And I was like, I don't know how to spell volcano. It's a V. Why would I put a
That
U?
would not hold up in
I just
court.
don't know.
The difference between a
It
U
held
and a
up.
V?
It must have been a very distinct U. looking thing.
I guess so. I mean, I was just a kid.
So like,
believe me, because I was
quibble
trying to
over
do
a
it.
point.
But I was
You're
trying to do
quibbling.
it. I know. Believe me, I had this conversation many moons ago. But the big fun story was it was like the night before a science fair was due.
Twas
the night. And I, of course, did not want to do it. And my mom was like, we have to do something. I was like, all right, I'll just, you know what I'll do? Because I was a skateboarder back then. I was like, I'll do the physics behind an ollie. Right? Because I was like, this will be easy. We'll go, and I just like drew, and I mean, it was so cheesy. I did like little stick figures of like, this is when you get this, and then the momentum carries forward, and I was bullshitting the whole thing. Well, I got chosen to go to state for the science fair, and it was really tough for my mom because she'd be sitting around like this and be like, oh, hey, so your kid made it to state, right? And she's like, yeah. It's like, how long did it take him to work on a science fair? My kid was working on it for like 3 months. She's like, you know, something less than that.
That's awesome.
Because it was the night before, and I was like,
So
whatever.
What did you do at state?
I just went, this
you
is the
showed the
physics of
same
an ollie.
thing.
It's, you just go to the next...
Did you place?
No.
State was like, stick figures?
Yeah, and I was like, stick figures and paper and me talking. But that was sort of fun
Crazy.
because I was like, oh man, this was totally last minute. But that's sort of how I live my life. Anywho, if you would like to have your email read on the show, please feel free to send it to fans@totallyradshow.com.
That's also where you send us backgrounds. We
Awesome.
love getting those backgrounds. They're very cool.
Yeah, like
You
David
can-
Lawson.
Yes, David Lawson sent this one, and you can, and you know, actually, he sent it quite a while ago. So if your background hasn't been on the show,
It may.
don't lose hope.
Na, na, na,
Send us
na.
more. Also, you can check out totallyradshow.com/backgrounds and see our logo that you can download. You can download all the backgrounds that have ever been on the show there too. Very cool place.
Even our segment backgrounds.
Yes.
The ones that they've seen.
Tease. Also, check out totallyradshow.com/blog where you can find out what we're going to be talking about on next week's show. All kinds of other information, including
Our
Extra Life.
Extra Life. We are going to we're trying to kick pediatric cancer in the crotch.
Yeah.
And get rid of it by gaming for 24 hours, which maybe we're just the first doctors to try that angle. Really, I think that's what it is. What if we just game for 24 hours?
Well,
That might do
luckily,
something.
this guy's a sarcastic gamer came up with this great idea
Yes.
last year, and so we're just kind of piggybacking on their great idea. But we're trying to get as much money as we can for this awesome cause.
Yeah. So go to totallyradshow.com/blog.
You might have to click back a little bit, but find it and donate.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
We've actually gotten a lot of donations, and it's awesome.
gonna
we
be
could
really cool.
definitely use more,
Right.
or not
They
us.
could use more.
We don't get
Yeah.
any of the money.
The
but it
kids.
goes all to the
kids.
Yeah, we just get a small percentage of the funds.
If you don't
for
donate-
Cheetos and stuff for the day. I'm just kidding. It all goes to kids. That'd be horrible. It's like, what? I don't want to donate now. How much?
Yeah,
What's the
thanks
percentage?
for ruining it, Alex.
Damn it. Anyway, well, that is it for this week's edition of the Totally Rad
Unless
Show.
you want clothes.
Unless you want clothes, and in that case, you would go to jinx.com/TRS. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Jeff Canat.
That's Jeff. They've been waiting all episode to find out who the hell I am.
We'll see you
was
next
the-
week. Hopefully. Go.
Remember the guy's name?
David Lawson.
Okay, sorry.
I was like, I was
Sorry, it was so good.
getting
it was
up,
gonna be
and then
so
someone
good.
pulled the carpet right out, and I went. Blah, blah, blah. Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode.
Oh, here we go.
I'm good.
It's professionals. Yeah.
Yeah, I am John F. Kennedy.
I believe you're chowder.
Yeah, chowder.